Every AI agent you have ever built calls its tools the same way. The model emits a structured JSON object. Flood that agent's context with 128 tool schemas, and its accuracy gets measurably worse. 2.33 points worse on average, measured across 14 different production models. Now change exactly one thing. Let those same models write a short Python script instead of emitting JSON. Under the identical flood, with identical tools, they do not get worse. They get 5.5 points better. One interface degrades under load, the other improves under load. Nothing about the task itself changed. That is context rot, measured on the precise thing your agent framework is doing all day, every day. And it comes from a paper submitted 11 days ago, which did not come out of a frontier lab at all. It is from 4 researchers working inside PricewaterhouseCoopers, the Big 4 accounting firm. 14 models, 309 benchmark tasks, 8 categories, one question underneath all of it. So should your agent still be emitting JSON, or should it simply be writing the code for itself? The answer depends on how many tools your agent has, how deep its call chains run, and, uncomfortably, which model you are paying for. The paper is the bitter lesson of tool calling. Ishan Patel, Sahil Sen, Elias Loomer, and Vamps Kumar Subya from the Commercial Technology and Innovation Office at PricewaterhouseCoopers. That byline is worth sitting with. This is not a frontier lab publishing a flattering result about its own models. It is a consultancy that has to make agents work for clients on whatever model the client already bought. So here's what the frameworks do today. You hand the model a pile of JSON tool schemas. It emits one structured call. Your code runs it, feeds the result back into the conversation, and the model goes round again for the next one, a turn-by-turn negotiation. Every link in a chain costs a full inference turn, and every raw tool result lands back in the context window whether the model needed it or not. That was the right design when models could not be trusted to write code. Programmatic tool calling changes the shape of it. The same tools get compiled into typed Python function stubs, one per schema, carrying the schema's own argument types. The system prompt hands the model that stub module as source code. Then the model writes one short script that imports the stubs and calls them. The agent loop runs it in a shell subprocess, captures what it printed, and stops before a second inference ever happens. Here is the paper's own worked example. Get the circumference of a circle with radius 7 and the area of a square with side 5. Under JSON, that is 2 tool call objects across 2 model turns, with a round trip in between. Under code, it is one call containing 4 lines of Python. Import both stubs, call both, print both results. One turn, one subprocess, both answers. The rest of the paper measures whether that survives contact with reality. They measured it on the Berkeley Function Calling Leaderboard, version 4. 309 entries across 8 categories on 14 models spanning 20 months from November 2024 through July 2026, every run at temperature 0 and scored deterministically. The headline result, programmatic tool calling matches or beats JSON in 11 of the 14. And the 2 largest gains land in the same family, GPT 5.6 Sol and GPT 5.6 Terra, at 10.6 points each. Sol climbs from 72.2% to 82.8%, Terra from 73.5% to 84.1%. All 5 Anthropic models clear baseline on this main benchmark too, from dead level on Opus 4.8 to 6.5 points on Sonnet 4.6. So the split is not Anthropic against OpenAI, it is newer models against older ones. Which sounds like a clean story, right up until 3 of the 14 did not merely fail to improve. Did they slip a little? No, they fell off a cliff. GPT-4o, the model from 2024, drops 26.9 points. GPT 4.1 from 2025 drops 19.8. And GPT 5.4 Mini, released only in March of this year, drops 24.3. On the chaining tasks, it is starker. GPT 4.1 scores 98.1% under JSON, the highest number anywhere in that table, and collapses to 40.4 under code. 57 points gone on identical tasks. This is the most instructive result in the paper, because the cause is not what you would guess. It is not an orchestration failure. Those models are not confused about which tools to call, or in what order, or with what arguments. They write Python containing 2 literal characters, a backslash and the letter N, where a real new line belongs. The subprocess reads that as a syntax error, and the script dies before a single tool gets called. Every entry needing more than 1 line scores 0, which is why chaining is their worst case. Every intermediate step needs a multi-line script. This is a serialization defect, a text encoding mistake in models that otherwise write Python perfectly well, and the control sits 1 row above them in the same table. GPT-5 Nano, smaller and earlier and cheaper, does not do it. Same system prompt, same instruction to use real new lines. A smaller, older model gets it right, while a bigger, later one does not. The paper calls that a capability gap and says the cause is outside its scope, which is the right amount of humility. Read it as a buyer though, and it says something sharper. 3 shipped, paid, production models will break if you move them to code mode over an escaping bug. So set those 3 aside and look at where this earns its money. Because what matters is not the average case, but the shape of the task. Start with chaining. 52 entries, chain length from 2 calls up to 20, weighted toward the long end. Claude Sonnet 5 goes from 80.8% to 96.2. Opus 4.8 from 80.8 to 94.2. Though on that same table, Haiku 4.5 goes the other way, from 88.5 down to 73.1. And critically, the advantage scales with depth. At chain lengths of 12 or more, the paper measures an 18.8 point gap, and at short chains, that gap does not exist at all. JSON pays 1 inference turn per link. The script pays 1 turn total, which shows up on the clock as well as the scoreboard. Code mode finishes chaining tasks in roughly half the wall time for 13 of 14 models, at ratios from 0.32 to 0.96 of baseline. GPT-5 is the exception, and a useful one. It runs at 2.8 times the baseline latency. Its extended reasoning output is long enough that writing the script costs more time than the saved turns give back. Fewer turns does not automatically mean faster. Then the calls go wide instead of deep. Parallel fanout, 32 entries, from 7 simultaneous calls up to 48, and 13 of the 14 match or beat baseline. GPT-5 jumps from 71.9% to 96.9%. Because in code, fanout is a loop or a parallel gather block, with no ceiling on how many calls fit, since it is only Python. In JSON, the model must emit every parallel tool call object inside one response, and past a certain width, it starts dropping them. So the paper goes hunting for the wall, probing Claude Sonnet 5 under plain JSON at 60, 70, 72, 75, and 100 parallel calls. At 70 calls, perfect enumeration. At 72, it drops to 75%. At 100 calls, it scores 0, not degraded. 0. The model stops issuing calls altogether, while programmatic tool calling holds at 100% on the same entries. But before anyone turns that into a law about JSON, GPT 5.6 Sol holds 100% under plain JSON all the way out to 100 calls. So the cliff is not a property of the format. It is how one vendor's models serialize a parallel tool call block. So what does switching actually cost you? There is a clean number for it, and it is the single most useful thing in the paper. Token cost crosses over at about 26 tools. Below 26, code mode costs more, because the system prompt carries the whole stub module as prose, while JSON passes its schemas through the API's tools parameter. Above 26, JSON costs more, because the response must enumerate every tool call object. At 30 tools, it is 3,559 tokens against 3,380. At 48, 5,097 against 3,535. Code mode barely moves. JSON grows linearly. Though on deep chains it reverses, where code mode uses about half again the input tokens, and output tokens do not differ between the two at all. So here's the question worth stopping on. How many tools does your agent have registered right now? Do you know the number? Because that number is the entire decision. Under about 26 tools with shallow chains, JSON is cheaper and simpler and better supported, so leave it alone. Over that line, or with chains more than a handful deep, you are paying a tax on a format you never chose. Now the part most coverage will not reach, and the part that decides whether you should believe the rest. 4 limitations go in writing. You already heard one of them, the token overhead, and a 5th sits in an appendix. First, the benchmark uses echo return stubs. Every function returns its own arguments back, verbatim, instead of calling a real API. So what is measured is argument serialization accuracy, not end-to-end tool use. If your tool's return value feeds the next call, this study does not cover you. Second, the ablation samples are small, 31 to 52 entries per condition. The paper states plainly that individual model results carry wide confidence intervals and should be read as directional, and that only the aggregate patterns are reliable. So the 18.8 point chaining gap, the GPT-5 fanout jump, the Sonnet 5 cliff, treat those as arrows, not measurements. What survives is the aggregate, 11 of 14, 13 of 14, and the direction of travel under a flood. Third, and here they are a little generous to themselves, they cite an outside audit that found 20% evaluator human misalignment in this benchmark and say their deterministic scorer sidesteps that path because the misalignment sat in the language model judge mode. So I went and read that audit. It is by Vishvesh Bhatt and colleagues, published at the end of June. Its own table lists this benchmark's evaluator as an abstract syntax tree plus simulator state, which is deterministic, carrying a 20% error rate across 200 audited tasks. The language model judge benchmark in that audit is a different one, at 30.5%. So the 20% is not in the path they sidestepped, it is in the path they used. To their credit, their next sentence concedes the labels may carry noise, and fifth, the one in the appendix. Average the per category scores across all 14 models, and the overall comes out at 78.6 for JSON against 77.0 for code. On that macro average, code mode is behind. On the parallel categories, 14 points behind. The paper explains it. That gap is largely the 3 broken models whose new line bug hurts most on multi-call scripts, which is true. But notice which number went in the abstract and which went in Appendix A. 11 of 14 leads. 77 does not. And one more, because I ran the numbers myself. That headline plus 5.5 under context flood, take out the 3 models with the new line bug, which scored so badly in the filtered condition they had nowhere to go but up, and the remaining 11 average plus 0.6, not negative. Just nothing like 5.5. The claim that survives is the narrower one. Under a flood of 128 schemas, code mode holds stable while JSON degrades. Stability is the finding. The size of the gain is mostly 3 broken models recovering. So, a hedged paper, real caveats, a small subset. Why care at all? Because of what is already shipped while the measuring was not happening. The idea itself is not new. Code Act, from Xingyao Wang and colleagues at ICML in 2024, showed code actions beating JSON on multi-tool tasks. Up to 20% higher success with up to 30% fewer actions, concentrated in exactly the parallel and compositional cases this paper isolates. Then, in September 2025, Cloudflare shipped code mode, and Kenton Varda's framing of why is still the best line in the debate. Models have seen an enormous amount of code, he wrote, and almost no tool calls. Getting a model to use tool calling, he said, is like putting Shakespeare through a month of Mandarin and then asking him to write a play in it. 6 weeks later, Anthropic published its own version of the argument, with a number attached. A workflow that burned roughly 150,000 tokens, passing tool definitions and intermediate results through the model, got rebuilt around code execution, and came back at about 2,000. 98.7% less. Then in February 2026, Cloudflare put a number on the schema problem that makes this paper's 128 schemas look quaint. Their API has over 2,500 endpoints, and exposing every one as a tool would cost more than 2 million tokens, more context than any frontier model has. Through code mode, that same API fits in roughly 1,000 tokens, a 99.9% cut. That is not a benchmark result, but a production platform saying the schema dumping approach does not fit inside the machine. And then the 9th of July, 2026, OpenAI ships GPT 5.6. The Luna, Terra, and Sol family with programmatic tool calling built into the Responses API as a native feature. Model-written JavaScript in an isolated runtime, orchestrating the tool calls itself. Now hold that against the paper's table. The 3 models with the largest gains in the study are the 3 models OpenAI shipped that feature on. The paper does not draw that line. I am drawing it, and its harness is its own Python setup rather than OpenAI's feature. Anthropic ships the same capability under the very same name. Programmatic tool calling, where your tools appear to Claude's code as async Python functions it can fire off in parallel with a gather block, which is, almost line for line, the construct in this paper's own parallelism example. And today, as this goes out, DeepSeek released its agent harness in developer preview under an MIT license. 4 runtime modes, and one of them is code mode, tools exposed through an SDK so the model composes multi-step operations inside a single TypeScript program. So the timeline reads like this. A 2024 paper suggests it. 1 infrastructure provider and 3 frontier labs ship it across 2025 and 2026, and only now, 11 days ago, does anybody run a controlled comparison. The industry shipped first and measured second. So here is where I land. Programmatic tool calling wins, and it wins for most people building agents right now. Anyone on a current generation model with more than about 26 tools registered, or chains deeper than a handful of steps. 3 receipts earn that. 11 of 14 models match or beat their own baseline on the main benchmark, 13 of 14 under parallel fanout, and roughly half the wall clock time on chaining. Those are the aggregate patterns the paper itself calls reliable. Who it is not for. If your agent has 8 tools and calls them one at a time, JSON is cheaper and simpler and better supported, and the paper's own crossover maths says so. And here is the concession I am not going to bury. On the macro average across all 14 models, code mode is behind. 77 against 78.6. I would still switch because that deficit is 3 models with a text escaping bug, but you should know the number exists because the abstract will not tell you. JSON tool calling was designed for models that could not be trusted to write working code. That was a reasonable decision at the time. The constraint expired, the format did not, and the thing that made agents reliable is now the thing capping them. Which leaves the question this whole result raises, and I do not think it has an obvious answer. If the model composes tools better than your framework orchestrates them, what exactly is the framework still for?